Hi and welcome to another edition of Onside SA, the soccer show that lets you know what's going on. We've reached that lull after the World Cup. We're getting a build-up to obviously the leagues are starting, the local leagues are starting a bit sooner. But just while we're on that, have they sorted out the Ajax setup?
Well, the league, there's a board of governors, the PSL board of governors, the fixtures are out. They start next Saturday. There's apparently a meeting. Ajax are going to Supreme Court, wherever they try and get an interdict. But they already lost the hearing to stop the playoffs. So I don't think they're going to be able to stop the league.
Okay.
So that's the problem. So as it officially starts next week, Chiefs Sundowns.
Yeah. We're going to, after Gremlins got in last week, we couldn't get Stevie B on the line. Stevie's on the line. Let's see if we can hear Stevie. Stevie B, you there? Hello, Stevie.
Good morning.
Morning. Good. Nice and clear. Budger here. We apologise for last week's Gremlins, but we seem to be on top of things now, Steve.
No, that's right. I thought it must have been at our end, but the heat wave had melted everything.
Yeah, sheesh, you guys have certainly got the heat wave. I looked at my lawn back home; it's brown. Anyway, let's talk football. We're obviously very keen to hear what you know about all the transfer feed, but we just want to touch on. I don't know if you've been able to watch it. We don't get the coverage here, Steve, of the International Champions Cup, of which the matches were played yesterday. Do you get any coverage of that?
There is some, but what tends to be happening is that, so for example, Liverpool played and it was shown on, they're being shown on a pay-per-view channel only, not one of the main ones.
Yes.
So I think they've got a very small audience of watching these. So they're either on the sort of Liverpool TV or on Premier Sports, which is sort of separate to Sky and BT Sport.
Yeah.
So there's very little coverage in the UK on TV.
Steve, talking of coverage, you see your boys Fulham have made a decent signing, Andre Schürrle.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was. that one came out of left field a little bit. I mean, obviously we've been linked. We've been linked with everybody, but that happened very quickly. And I think, from his point of view, obviously he was at Chelsea. He obviously liked the idea of coming back to London and to West London. So I think he will fit in very nicely on the right side of our attacking three.
Yeah, I think that's a superb signing.
Yeah, me too. Big signing.
Now, what's the latest with Mitrovic?
I have to tell you, this is all nobody can really understand what's happening. It seems to be that evidently that Newcastle are holding out for nothing less than 20 million. We haven't offered that much. I think there was a sort of understanding when he came on loan to us that we would have first refusal at a lower sum, because at that time I think they were looking to get about 13 million for him. Okay. And I think that having played for us, we've obviously sort of helped his, helped him on his way, that Fulham feel a bit aggrieved that they've now got to stump up an extra 7 million. I hope it's done. Evidently he is back from his holiday today, so I would think a decision has to be made very soon. Otherwise he's got to go off to the Portugal training camp with Newcastle.
Yeah, well, don't you think, Steve, with all due respect to your owner who's got millions and billions, so we hear the extra 7 million for a striker?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone says, there's the money being bandied around and we're prepared. We paid 28 million for John Michael Seri.
Yeah.
Mitrovic has to be worth, whether it's 18 or 20, to haggle over a couple of million. At this point, it just seems crazy when, he wants to come, the manager wants him to come, the fans want him to come.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand, whether it's sometimes principle is fine, but we are only 2 weeks away from the window closing, and 2 weeks and 2 days from the start of the season. So if he is our man, we need to get him in.
Yeah, and I think also what would happen if you do pay the 20 million, Steve, if things don't work out, you can sell him for 15 and get majority of your money back.
Yeah, no, look, he's young. I mean, he's 23, 24. I mean, he's a young guy. He's still got, big chunk of his career ahead of him. He didn't do badly at the World Cup. I mean, Serbia played quite well in patches. He played well in patches. So, and we know, what we're going to get with him. So unless the club are looking at somebody else, but it just seems to me that he should be our first choice.
Yeah, no brainer.
We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping something will be concluded this week.
Yeah. Steve, on to Chelsea. They seem to be the club where everybody's poking and prodding. What's the latest with Hazard and Willian and Courtois?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, Courtois seems to be looking as if he might well go. Real Madrid are definitely after him, although I understand this morning Real Madrid are also looking at Hugo Lloris. So I think there'll be some movement there. I think Chelsea have dug their heels in about Hazard. I mean, having said that, we know that Real are going to want to make a big marquee signing. Having sold Ronaldo to Juventus, I think their fans will only be appeased if they bring in a big name. And I think Hazard is probably as big as they get. Chelsea can't afford to lose Hazard and William and Courtois. And otherwise, what is that saying about their aspirations for the coming season?
Yeah. You said Real Madrid looking for Lloris. It can't be the Tottenham goalkeeper, surely.
I think Lloris would be their backup if they can't get Courtois, but I'm not sure why Tottenham would want to sell him anyway.
They can have him. They can have him. They can have him with my blessing. They can have him. He's starting to weaken. You saw what he did against Croatia. He's done that a few times for Spurs.
Yeah.
They can have him. But so Man United are in the news again. Steve, what's the latest with their transfer fees and their teams?
Yeah, well, I think that the latest one to be sort of linked with him is that Mourinho has come out, or evidently he said that they're after Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
So
he'll be expensive
with the way he played. But again, some mixed messages coming out of United at the moment. I mean, there was this sort of nonsense about sort of Martial, who wanted to go off on to see the birth of his
second baby.
Evidently, Mourinho's made some, and now they're saying Mourinho said it's okay. Well, it should be a non-point. It's pre-season. All it's done is probably just stoke the fire a bit for Martial, thinking that he's not loved and wants to go. So.
Yeah. Is there any more news on Bale? I haven't been onto the AS Master website.
That looks. I think with Ronaldo leaving, I can't see that unless something sort of they offer an incredible fee. I can't see that Bale will leave Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think he sort of made clear his frustration at not playing, and I can't believe that they won't play him, especially after his performance in the Champions League final.
Yeah.
I think that shows what he's capable of.
Steve, one deal that was done, 50 million for Richarlison to Everton.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you have to say that sounds, amazing, really.
Right,
he started off really well, and obviously Silva was there at Watford, but he faded. He really faded. I mean, he was pretty anonymous in the second half of the season. So to go, I think they paid 13 million for him.
Correct.
So to get it, I think the final figure is 40 plus add-ons. It's just crazy.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
you can understand Watford. You can understand Watford taking the money. Why wouldn't they?
Tell me who wouldn't, other than the big clubs. But in saying that,
Everton spent a lot of money last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of they've spent a lot of money in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
And not all of their signings have worked out for them. So it's a little bit of a gamble. I mean, he is obviously very talented, and as we say, the first half of the season, he looked like he was probably one of the best acquisitions in the Premier League. But you hardly noticed him in the second half.
Yeah.
Did they get money for Rooney?
Wayne Rooney.
I'm not sure. No, I think he went on a free.
He went on a free. I thought it was right, Joey. He went on a free.
Yeah, I think they mutually agreed to let him go.
Yeah, I think the wages as well, wasn't it? He was on 300,000 a week, so I think they did a deal there.
For a club who are at the bottom of their conference, DC United, he's going to be earning a fortune more than any of the other players there. And I noticed that he didn't have a particularly good game over the weekend. Was subbed after an hour.
Yeah, they got beat last night as well by New York Red Bulls.
I didn't see that. Okay.
Stevie, I want to ask you about the Championship. Obviously, it's great that you guys aren't going to be in that scrum again, but Aston Villa have new owners.
Well, I mean, this is very sad. I mean, they've got new owners, but I'm not sure that changes everything for them because although they obviously now have some investment which makes sure that they can pay the allowed revenue and they can sort of meet wages, they are still stuck with FFP and they can't go out and start splashing the cash as they have for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So they probably still do have to sell. They will have to balance their books for that purpose. So, I would say that they really don't rank in the top 3 this season. I think looking at some of the spending, I think Stoke look as if they're going to be favourites.
Yeah.
I think they're clearing the decks of some of their expensive players and they're bringing in the sort of players who they feel will get them out of the Championship.
Yeah, I see they are favourites.
Yeah, 11-2, but Just Steve, I'm just going to read out the betting for the Championship winner. And it's always tough. 11-2 about Stoke. You're right about them. 8-1 West Brom and Middlesbrough. 10-1 Notts Forest and Leeds. 12-1 Aston Villa and Swansea. 14-1 Derby County. Any comments?
It's interesting, Forest are a team that have gone from sort of doing nothing in the last few years, spent a lot of money, broken their club record. I think they're expecting to do good things. it'd be interesting to see how all their new players sort of gel, but they're obviously very ambitious at the moment. I'm not sure about West Brom. Well, obviously, having gone down, they are expected to be there or thereabouts, but I'm not sure that they will bounce back as quickly. I think Stoke will. I think Stoke will look as if they'll probably do as Newcastle did. They've kept some good players. They've let the ones go who they felt maybe let them down, and they've really strengthened. Middlesbrough are always going to be there or thereabouts. And Leeds will certainly sort of be challenging, I think, for a playoff place this year with a new manager. They're giving some money. I understand they're looking to buy Barry Douglas and Wolves, who did very well with Wolves last year, but obviously Wolves have stepped up a notch themselves now. So,
Steve, what about Derby?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, again, it's one of these sort of situations where there was a lot of comments in the last couple of days at Aston Villa about whether or not they should be bringing in Thierry Henry, and as of last night, Steve Bruce is staying. So, there's an argument to say, look, just because someone was a good Premiership footballer, without the coaching experience, does it mean that they should go straight into a high-profile job? I think, Frank Lampard is I think he's a very solid guy. I think he's obviously been around football all his life. From listening to him speak over the last few weeks, he seems to be pretty sensible about what he's saying. They are strengthening. They've just agreed a deal to buy yesterday Jack Marriott from Peterborough, who was the top scorers in the First Division for about $5 million. So they are strengthening, but again, over the last few years, they've really flattered to deceive. Every year they look as if they're going to go up, whether automatically or get into the playoffs, and they sort of faltered. So, but I think they'll be there. I think they'll be close. I think there'll be a playoff.
And John Terry, Steve, what's happened with him?
I haven't heard anything. I'm sure he'd like to keep playing. Whether or not anybody will want him, Frank Lampard would want him. I mean, there he is. Obviously, he did okay last year, but he's certainly lost a bit of pace. But I don't think he'd want to drop down any further in the division. But from what I understand, he hasn't got a club just yet, so he's got a, he's a free agent effectively.
Okay, so it's Stoke for my boys that want to get in early and have a bet to win the championship.
Yeah, I think Stoke is, they've made some good signings. I think, obviously, look, it depends how these teams start, but I think that they seem to be going about it the right way. They've let players go, players who they feel aren't going to want to play in the Championship, and they brought in solid, strong, lower Premier League Championship-style players. Yeah. I thought the one that was a very interesting transfer was Benica Fobi, who sort of went. Sort of ended up at Stoke, and Stoke would have paid $2 million more than Bournemouth sold him for to Wolves. But
big strong centre forward, isn't he?
Yeah. All right, Stevie, fantastic. Keep us up to speed with the news until we get to at least the Community Shield or that, and we'll keep an eye on what's happening.
I think we'll find in the next 2 weeks. Now that a lot of the World Cup players are starting to come up, I think there'll be a lot of activity. I mean, we haven't had any what we would call real marquee signings yet, and I think there will be some across Europe, certainly in the next 2 weeks.
Lovely. Stevie, as always, thanks very much for your input.
All right, Steve, all the best.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, cheers, Stevie. Well, there we go. That was Stevie. Good to get our man back on the line. He knows his football. He knows what's happening in England. And those papers punch it every day.
Paul, when we go to the websites here, there's so many Bleacher reports. I don't know who these guys are. Yeah, I read that Marshall. He walked out of Man United. Meanwhile, his wife is pregnant with a second kid. United granted leave to go to the birth. But the newspaper said, no, he's walked out.
But it goes back to that comment years ago when they spoke to, I think I brought it up a week or two ago, where Alex Ferguson said, that years ago Liverpool weren't that good, but they gave us a great game yesterday. Headline was Liverpool not that good. Yeah. Just completely misconstrued. Let's go back a few winners, Budge. Okay. Let's talk about the MLS.
Well, we started with the Swedish league, Paul, because that's we started with the Swedish too. The championship equivalent of the Swedish Superettan, and that's back. But the main league is on now. AFK Gothenburg, Brommapojkarna, both out of form. Brommapojkarna have lost all 7 of their away league games. IFK look absolute certainties to beat them, Paul. So
1-2 favourites.
1-2. Ostersund's going well. That was a team that Arsenal knocked out of the Europa League. Elfsborg have improved lately, but Ostersund's look like there could be a threat to win the league. So 7-10 Ostersund's for us. Now the champions Malmo, they're involved in the Champions League. They won 1-0 away. They won in, they beat Cluj of Romania, I think it was, in midweek. They're going to be resting players for Noordkoping. So Noordkoping are third, going well. So I've taken a chance here, Paul. I've gone Noordkoping in the draw, purely because Malmo, second qualifying, there's big money at stake.
Yeah.
They did rest players last week, they got out of jail. I don't see them getting out of jail this week.
Noordkoping are playing well.
Noordkoping going well, yeah, going very well. Now Dalkurd serious, 2 out of form teams. You know, Dalkurd purely because they're at home. Win and draw Dalkurd for me, but goals the order of the day in that particular game. The second page, ARK Stockholm, 11 home games. Now, they're playing the Europa League tonight, but their last 11 home league games, they've won 9, drawn 2.
They're flying.
Flying. Should be good things, Paul. 5, it's a Sunday
So, but
game.
a nice double would be to take the opening event.
Yeah, we've got IFK Gothenburg and Stockholm. They're in our bets, Sean. Now, Djurgårdens play in the Europa League tonight. They're playing the Ukraine. They've won 5-10. They do look good things, especially these smaller teams with smaller squads, Paul. So I've thrown the draw in there. I wouldn't go emptying out on Djurgårdens just because they're playing the Ukraine. Now, likewise, Häcken, they play RB Leipzig in the Europa League tonight. They're away in Germany. 7-10 looks a good bet, but I've thrown the draw into our exotics, Paul. I just don't like it. Like, you know, small team. And Orebro not going too well. While 7-10 looks attractive, but not for me. And Hammarby got back to form last week, 6-10, the Monday night game, Paul. I think they're good things, going well. I think they're good things to beat Trelleborg.
Haven't lost in their last 7.
Yep, now the Swedish Superettan, that starts again this week.
What's it, the Cup?
That's the championship, the English championship, because that's the second division in Sweden. Norrby Osters, of the 2 teams I like Osters. Norrby not going too well. Osters win and draw for me. Falkenberg going well second. Varberg struggling. I think 9-10 is a good thing. Brage as well, Vonamo bottom of the league. Brage, I can't believe are 8-10, Paul, so they're in all our bets. RK Frege and Gaze Gothenburg, the betting gives it away. Frege are struggling. I've gone Gaze Gothenburg, win and draw.
Great name for a team, eh?
Gaze, Lionel Gaze,
Yeah, Lionel Gaze, Gazy.
Yeah, the second page, Landskrona Gefle, difficult game. Landskrona should be too good for Gefle. Young Kopping Sodra against Helsingborg. You know, Helsingborg going well. I think they'll be too good for Young Koppings away. Monday night game, I've gone Eskilstuna away from home at Ågrat. Ågrat started off the season well. Only won one of the last 6. I like Eskilstuna to at least get a draw. And the last game's a Tuesday night, Paul. It should be Halmstad. I've eliminated them for our bets. Guys want to get paid prior to that. But Halmstad should be good things to beat Degerfors.
Yeah. Okay, now the American. How's the American League going?
Paul, there were games last night. There's 3 games. The betting's not out because there's games tonight as well. So until the games are concluded, you know, there were 1 or 2 games that, you know, I was fortunate to get the betting on. So I've included those in our bets. But Toronto, Chicago, both out of form. There should be plenty of goals in that team. You know, Toronto last year won the whole competition. Giovinco up front. Bastian Schweinsteiger, Chicago. They can't win away from home, but they always score. So goals the order of the day for me. New York Red Bulls, I think they've won 8 of the 10 home league games this year. They should be too good for a Columbus Crew team. Montreal, Atlanta. Atlanta buried us and they beat Wayne Rooney's team.
Well, what's his team called?
DC United.
Yeah.
Terrible. I wondered why there were so many goals. I watched the defend. Watched all the games of the highlights. Paul, you should have seen the defending. They're all trying to play offside and one guy was left behind.
Are they? Is Rooney's team rubbish at the moment?
Garbage. At home they'll be competitive.
Garbage.
But away from home they were disgraceful.
Yeah.
They were beat 3-1 by Atlanta, but they played on a carpet. Should have seen the pitch. It was terrible. So Atlanta...
The Yanks haven't got the recipe right yet.
No, the pitch is terrible. But, you know, New York should be too good for Columbus. Montreal, Atlanta, 2 teams. Montreal won the last 5 at home. Atlanta won 6 of the 9 away league games.
Good game.
It should be a good game. You know, that's the one
That's
I went
Sunday,
the field in there. Yeah, Sunday, 1 o'clock our time. DC United, I think they'll be too good for Colorado. Colorado are struggling, especially away from home. DC United should beat them. And the next game, Sporting Kansas City and Dallas. That's a tight game. You know, Sporting Kansas City at home, hard to beat. So I think a draw, a big player in that game. But in the exotics, it's the field job. Second page, Portland, Houston, another tough game. You know, Houston won last night. Portland, for me, of the 2 teams. Going well at home.
Just Portland won at home. Their last league games, they won 11 of 15. 3 drawn 3.
So you'll see
they're hard to beat.
Hard to beat at home. So you've got to side with them, even though Houston are going well. Vancouver, Minnesota, got to fancy Vancouver at home. Minnesota away are terrible. So I've got to fancy Vancouver. Now, San Jose, Real Salt Lake, they cost us a 6 and X conceded in the 88th minute Real Salt Lake last year. That's a field job,
Last
Paul.
week.
Both teams, San Jose are terrible at home. Real Salt Lake away from home are even worse. So it's a field job, Paul. Any result is possible. Now the next game is key because Seattle have come right. They won 1-0 away from home last night. New York City at home are unbeatable. Away from home they can't win. So it'll be interesting to see that. I like Seattle in the draw there. And the last game, I think LA Galaxy are going to be hard to stop in this MLS. You know, they won last week. They won in New England, 28-10. They play Los Angeles tonight.
Are they
in
the
local
Kaiser Chiefs
derby.
of that league?
Yeah, that's the Galaxy boys. I think they'll murder Orlando. I think they'll win by more than one at least. They've worked out just over even money, Paul.
Okay.
So
right, let's go look at your bets, Budge. Yeah. That'll be very interesting. Tell us what you think.
The exotics. Now, Basel have played 2 games this year. One at home against St. Gallen in the Swiss League last, and they got beat. They got beat in the Champions League in midweek. They should be too good for Neuchâtel Xamax, but I've thrown the draw in there, so it's Basel in the draw. Now, Juventus are in the Champions competition. They've got all their players, bar Ronaldo. And
why
the 2
bar Ronaldo?
Well, because he's just signed. All the players with World Cup duties.
Given time.
They got given time. Now, all the Italians are there. They've got several players. They won last night. They beat Dortmund.
And Benfica?
Struggling. Now, they're a selling club, Benfica. They do well in Portugal. Juventus with Ronaldo there, they're all trying to make a name for themselves. 7-10, I think they're good things. So we bank at them. Chelsea, Inter Milan, they're playing in Nice. Now, Chelsea played in Perth on Monday. So the long flight back. Inter Milan, they spend a lot of money. I think the draw's a big player there, Paul. But of the 2 teams, I've sided with Inter Milan. I think Liverpool will beat Man United. I know it's a massive game.
Yeah,
Liverpool have got their whole squad.
Where are they playing this?
They're playing this in Ann Arbor in Michigan. So obviously...
And Ann Arbor's a Gridiron Stadium.
Yeah, Gridiron Stadium, Michigan, yeah. So there'll be 80,000. Liverpool have got all their players there. United have rested all theirs. That was 13-10 Liverpool. I know the hatred between the camps. So, you know, United are struggling. I saw their starting team. Not too good, I think. But I've thrown the draw in, Paul. Liverpool will change all their players.
Liverpool, they bought some players.
Yeah,
will they be
showcasing
them?
They're all there.
All there, okay.
You know, then, I've gone Bayern Munich to beat Man City. Man City, all the youngsters. He's only got a couple of Sane and the guys that win. And Bayern Munich have got majority of their players there.
Be a good game.
Should be a good game. And I think Barcelona Spurs. Barcelona reportedly taking all their main players, bar Messi and a couple of others.
They're a good side,
I saw Spurs' team.
Yeah.
You know, Lucas Moura scored 2, and the other big centre forward you got from Swansea, he scored 2.
Oh, yes.
So they've got their first 11 is competitive. But I looked at the bench, and they've got all youngsters. So,
I looked at their squad. There's a Tony Giorgio.
Okay. Any relation to Phil?
Well, his brother's called Tony Giorgio.
Okay. So
Tony Giorgio is a youngster coming through for Spurs. I looked at the squad that travelled.
And well, they made changes last night.
Hoyt travelled. They've got to play him. They've got to play Moura. Basically, they've got last year's squad.
Yeah, but Ericsson played and Son was on the bench. They came off the bench. But in general, all youngsters playing there, Paul.
Good.
So I think Barcelona, it draws a big player in all the friendlies, Paul.
We've got a very good young player called Edwards, I believe.
Okay.
Very good. In the mould of Liam Brady, they say. That's a
big
comparison. That's a comparison.
One of the best midfielders Britain produced. Well, on to the 10. You know, I've gone the field with Montreal and Atlanta. I've banked the Red Bulls to beat Columbus. I've gone Toronto, win and draw against Chicago Fire. I've banked Wayne Rooney's DC United to beat Colorado.
Even though they're muck, but they're better at
Colorado are terrible away from home, and they're also struggling.
It's amazing how bad teams away from home in America. I know they're long distances to travel, but if New York City, Red Bulls play New York City, it's going across the street.
Yeah, it's just they've got their own linesman, Paul. Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Got their own linesman.
I've gone the field with Sporting Kansas City and Dallas, and I've gone Portland Tim as well. If you want to halve your perm, I've thrown the draw in because Houston are hard to beat, but I do think Portland will beat them 2-1-6 in the Soccer 6 there. The 10, I've gone Montreal Impact field against Atlanta. I've banked the Red Bulls. I've gone Toronto, win and draw at home against Chicago. I've banked DC United. I've gone Sporting Kansas City, win and draw against Dallas. I've banked Portland to beat Houston, Vancouver to beat Minnesota. I've gone the field with San Jose and Real Salt Lake. I've gone Bayern Munich, win and draw against Man City, and I've gone Barcelona, win and draw against Tottenham. The last 2 games, Paul, are nightmares to try and catch. I don't know why they put them into them, because it's a lottery. So 288. So
but it's good to watch good players.
Yeah, it's a draw and one other, Paul. So I've sided with Bayern and Barca. On to the Swedish 13. I've banked IFK Gothenburg to beat Bromma Pochkana. I've banked Östersunds to beat Elfsborg. I've gone Dolkird, win and draw at home against Sirius. I've gone Norrköping, I've taken the chance here, Paul, win and draw at Malmo. I've banked Brage to beat Värnamo. I've gone Osters, win and draw at Norrby. I've banked second place Valkenburg to beat Varbergs. Second page, I've gone Gays Gothenburg, win and draw at RK Fresh. I've banked ARK Stockholm to beat Kalmar. You can bank Djurgårdens and Häcken, but because they're in the Europa League, Paul, I've thrown the draw. Win and draw Djurgårdens against GIF Sundsvall, likewise Häcken against Örebro. I've gone Landskrona, win and draw against Gefle, and I've gone the away team, Helsingborg, win and draw against Young Kopping. If you want to halve your perm, banker Helsingborg, that works out at 205 Rand.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, right, on to our bets.
My favourite part of the show.
Profitable part. So I've got
Allsvenskan.
Yeah, I've gone Östersunds to beat Elfsborg. I've gone ARK Stockholm to beat Kalmar. I've gone IFK Gothenburg to beat Brommapojkarna, and over 2.5 total goals, IFK Gothenburg and Hammarborg to beat Trelleborg. So IFK Gothenburg and Hammarby have to win.
I'm confused. Okay. IFK Gothenburg
and Hammarby have to win, and they have to be over 2.5 total goals in the bet. So 2,300.
A Swedish.
Yep, I've gone Falkensburg to beat Varberg. I've gone Brage to win at home against Värnamo. I've gone Helsingborg to beat Young Kopping Sodra, and win and draw AFC Eskilstuna at Allgright. Same price, 7.5 to 1.
When do they play these games?
Now, these games are Saturday, Sunday, Paul. They're our time, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. The American MLS, I've taken these from one board, international company. I've gone the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus. I've gone DC United to beat the Colorado Rapids. I've gone Portland to beat Houston, and I've gone LA Galaxy to beat Orlando City by more than 1 goal. So 2-0, 3-1,
got you.
2,400 to 200. Now, I've taken a chance. A lot of guys have asked me about the Champions Cup.
It's
tough. For an interest,
tough.
It's difficult, Paul, but the prices aren't bad. Sadly, I've gone Liverpool to beat Man United. I just think they've got a better squad there.
They're ready.
And I think they're ready, yeah. I think Juventus will beat Benfica. And I've gone win and draw. Arsenal are playing PSG. You've got all the youngsters there.
Oh, they can play.
They can play, yeah. I watched them play.
So you think Arsenal get at least a draw?
I think win or draw, yeah. Against,
that'll be a tough game.
Yeah, because Arsenal got everything to prove. The new manager, they're going to go out there and he's going to want to win.
PSG, would Dancing Neymar be playing?
No, he's not playing. None of those guys are playing. Cavani and all that, they're not playing. That's why I've taken the chance on Arsenal. I've gone Inter Milan win and draw against Chelsea. And I've gone Bayern Munich win and draw against Man City. So I took the price, Paul, 2,400 to 200.
Okay.
Just the teams with slightly better squads.
When are these played now?
These games are all Saturday, Sunday morning.
Okay. All right, then.
They're both teams to score. I've gone RK Fresh against Gays Gothenburg, Dolkird Sirius, Djurgårdens GIF Sundsvall, Häcken against Örebro, and Toronto Chicago, 2,300 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa is IFK Gothenburg to beat Brommapojkarna, Östersunds to beat Elfsborg, ARK Stockholm to beat Kalmar, Hammarby to beat Trelleborg on Monday, the New York Red Bulls to beat Columbus Crew, and Zlatan's LA Galaxy to beat Orlando City, 3,300 to 200.
Well played, Budge. Well played. That looks very, very interesting. So, Budge, before we close off, I'll keep touching on when we can get the Premier League going in England, the EPL.
It starts on the 9th, Paul. The deadline is the 8th.
The 9th. Just talk about last one standing.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked and
me too. I'm getting a lot of people phoning me.
I'll sit and work the date. Also, we've got to work out the paydays. So maybe about the 20th, was it the 9th? It starts 16, 23. So maybe the end of August. Also let people have a look.
When does it start?
It starts the 9th or 10th. So
of August?
Of August, yeah. So we may give it a week or two, just to let people see.
Why do we go on opening days?
Well,
you know what happened last year? You know what, Budge? Last year we got
Burnley.
Chelsea and Burnley and Chelsea champion. No, we must go opening day, Budge. Sit and work it out, because the people.
The problem is the sponsor, Paul. I've got a meeting next week with the sponsor.
Okay.
So let's just see
if there's anybody out there who wants to sponsor those air flights and tickets, get hold of us. But we're going to be speaking to people. But let's get rolling on it. And
well, there's a lot of people. It's just sort of the first
people
week
are phoning
of the
me, Budge. They say, listen, here's my money. I want 10. I'm going to win that.
I've already got some money. Last Whitehead's give me the 100. You know, he's always first in.
What's his nickname?
Colours.
First
in, first out.
First in, first out, Colours.
Hasn't gone past a week.
Does he only take one town? One ticket?
I think I'm going to give him a bar the first week just to give him a chance.
Can't give him a bar. All right, Budge, that's it. Lovely, that's where we are. So make sure you're on side.